beautiful soul. Welcome to the Quantum Business Queen podcast. This podcast is a vortex for activating wealth, riches, and boss bitches. It is here that I teach multi-dimensional business. Our content will fall under 3 different categories: 5D quantum creation, 4D frequency alchemy, and the most potent 3D strategy. Every aspect of business that contributes to the creation of success is covered here. Plus, I will be personally interviewing the most amazing boss bitches that are at the forefront of the game, paving the way for money, magic, and magnetism in business. Let's get ready to activate all of that within you. Welcome to the Quantum Business Queen podcast. I'm so excited to have one of my best friends on today. She is seriously amazing. You guys are going to be blown away. Cassidy Le Crème is here, and we're going to be talking about her ability to magnetize insane opportunities. Like, she is honed in on the skill of magnetization. Let me just give you some examples. She has a tribe on social media of over 400,000 followers. She's had over 10 million views on YouTube. She was signed by a major record label. She performed at the YouTube Awards in Malaysia and the Opera House. She performed at the King's Palace. She's a TV actress and presenter. She sings in over 8 languages. And the most exciting thing is she has just launched the Fearless Fempreneur. And guys, she's just getting started. Let me just say, none of this happened through any strategy. All of these opportunities landed in her lap, and it gives me chills when I talk about this. So she is honed in on the skill of magnetizing insane opportunities, which is why the Fearless Fempreneur was birthed. She wants to teach women about this all over the world. So without further ado, we have Cassidy Le Crème here. Cassie, I'm so happy to have you.
I'm so excited. Oh my God, I love doing this with you. Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody.
Yay. We're both sitting here on my couch. We're having a cup of coffee. We're just chilling. And we just thought, oh my God, you guys need to understand the depth of which Cass has been able to create the most insane opportunities. Like, I just listed some of them. Like, I haven't even scratched the surface with Cassie. Truly, like, I could spend 40 minutes talking about all the other things that she does. But Cass, you really have been able to take your insane accomplishments and reverse engineer truly how you got them, because it is magic, right? Because there was zero strategy. You didn't hire agents. You didn't do any of it. Every single one of the things I listed landed on your lap, which is wild if you think about it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was something that I only really came to understand in hindsight. I didn't understand it at the time, obviously. I'm definitely someone who always was like, God, I'm no good with strategy. I just can't. I'm not good with planning ahead. I'm very ADHD. Like, I just was always very hard on myself, I guess, trying to find a formula that worked for me. And then you will come to realize that sometimes for people it actually is the opposite. And that's when I came to understand what magnetism was.
Yeah. So when you said try to find a formula, it was people trying to squeeze you into a strategy where it's like, you must do A, B, C, D in order to get X, Y, Z. And you were like, no.
Absolutely. Especially like the best examples I always found were when I signed to a major label. When you're a recording artist, you think that, oh my God, if I sign to a label, they're going to give me the strategy. All I have to do is get noticed by them and then they'll take the wheel. And the opposite unfolded for me. It was an absolute train wreck because everything that they did that worked for other artists did not work for me. And then everything that I happened to do on my own accord that I just felt pulled to do would then suddenly be this big viral hit. And you'd be like, wait a minute, that was just a little silly thing I did in the afternoon. And so the energy that I was operating out of was what was magnetic and actually worked. So that was a really hard unlearning to do, is like, but why doesn't strategy work for me?
Yeah. All right. So can we rewind a bit? Where did all this start for you? Can you take us back to the journey of where all of this kicked off?
Sure. I mean, I guess I would say my entire life I've always been a very powerful manifester. It's kind of like when I know things to be possible for me, they've just come into my life. I always say, like, when I think nothing's going to happen, something happened.
Yeah.
It's weird. So I'd always, as a child, people had always just said to me, God, they would love you in Asia. Being, the fair-haired, blonde, blue-eyed, very pale-skinned child, it was just something unique. So when I went and worked in theme parks, it was just, there was always this instant, intrigue there, I guess. So when I moved to Singapore, I was working at Universal Studios in Singapore as Marilyn Monroe, and I started performing with bands on the side because they didn't want to let me sing. Marilyn was a non-singing role. So they were like, you can sing with bands on the side. So I started hanging out with locals, and then they started saying, oh, you should sing a song in Malay, because they were all of the Malay culture. They're like, people would love it. And I was like, oh yeah, but I never made effort to actually do it. I sort of was open to it. And then my bandmates at the time made it actually a reality. And the minute that we posted that video, mind you, I did not speak one word of Malay at the time. I could swear in Malay and that was it. It was like a joke amongst friends, but I could mimic the sound of a language because I sung classical when I was a child, which was different languages. So that skill came in handy just per chance. And I remember the first time I sang a word, they were all looking at me really strange. And I was like, what? Yeah. Is it really bad? And they were like, you sound Malay. And I was like, what?
Wow.
So we posted the video and it was an overnight success, instantly viral. I got nominated for a music award for it. Exactly. I know, it was crazy. Within a day, there was taxi drivers stopping in the middle of the road being like, Cassidy, I saw your video. Great job, man. It was crazy. But then, to give you an example of how it was not just an overnight success thing, then the next video we tried to make was very strategic. It was very planned. It was very what people would want to see, and it crashed and burned.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it was then, a 13-year journey for me to get all these opportunities, and it was a massive roller coaster, but that's how it all began.
Okay, so that's how it began, but what the consistent thread is throughout your whole journey, when you landed the gig at the YouTube Awards, when you landed the Opera House gig, all of those things, what you can consistently thread together is none of it was manufactured. When you tried to manufacture something, every single time it flopped.
Absolutely. Every typical route that I tried to take, every time I got a manager, crashed and burned. Wow. Every time the record label was, well, this works for people, didn't work for me. Anything I ever did that I was like, people would love this, never worked. It went against the analytics. It went against sense. It went against the status quo. So for me, it has always been I will get into it, but the art of surrender and detaching and letting go and stepping into your femininity as opposed to your masculinity where you go after things. That is what works for me.
Okay, so can we talk about that? Because I know so what Cassie is really honing in on now is she's really been able to look at the major opportunities. These aren't just little piddly things. These are life-changing, time-collapsing opportunities and time-collapsing events where it's one day you're Cassidy, the next day you are an literal overnight success being nominated for something. This is what collapsing time is, right? Every single time it was you aligning to this feels really good. And then what would you say the energy was that you were in when those sorts of things happened for you?
Depending on what it was either pure inspiration, actual full body inspiration, being magnetized to something to create it. So therefore I'm acting out of inspiration, not out of expectation of an outcome. Ooh. Sarah's getting excited. Yes.
Use that for a social media post later.
But basically that was the energy I was acting out of, or it was actually out of surrender. I was mentioning to Sarah before we started recording this that there was multiple times in my career where I had been trying so hard to make change happen and make progress and really hit goals, and it's really strange. I think when you have an inner knowing that you're supposed to do something, it can be very frustrating when the evidence is not coming into your life, whether it's that there's a partner out there for you, or that there is, something, a way that you want to feel, or a success that you feel like you're supposed to hit, but the evidence is not yet there, whether it's how much money you're making, etc. And then it would get to a point where I would be like, this is just too hard. And one example I guess I would give, if that's all right, is there was a point that it had just been so hard. I'd wanted a record deal and I'd had multiple offers from management and record deals, but it was never right. It was a bad deal, or there was other expectations that I was not willing to go down that route. And so it was really heartbreaking for me to be like, I just want it to come, but I want it to come correct, in alignment with my values, in the way that I imagine it to come.
Yes.
And so this one specific time, I literally said to my mum, I think I'm done, Mum. I think I'm done. You know what? I'm giving up on Malaysia. It's too hard. I'm too heartbroken. It's just clearly not meant for me. No more videos. No more. Because I was living in Australia making videos in a country where I didn't live, didn't really speak the language. And though I was getting viral videos, just none of the opportunities were presenting themselves. So I literally surrendered to the universe and said, I am done trying. And then out of the blue, a video that I made 2 years earlier went viral on television in Malaysia, and I got a record deal offer out of it, which I didn't end up taking. But I also got a phone call from the Prime Minister's office asking me to fly over in 2 days to do a video on national television in a concert of theirs, to be a participant and perform for the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister.
I know this story, but as I hear you tell it again, I am literally like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. This is just, it proves it. It just proves it, doesn't it? Like, my mind is blown. And this, like, the power of detachment is real. Mm. And I always use the example, if you think of pregnant women, they try everything, the IVF, the this and that, and then the second they're like, I give up, boom.
Done.
Fall pregnant.
100%. Absolutely. It's surrender.
Yeah.
It is surrender.
So you said a couple really powerful things, and this is part of Cassidy's like really insanely game-changing magnetism methodology. It is about understanding the value system, number one, which actually people don't talk about. People talk about mindset, they talk about this and that, but actually one of the reasons, and Cassie and I were really talking about this, dissecting it yesterday, one of the ways in which Cassie is magnetized, all of these opportunities have come to her, is knowing the value system. And the value system, and she has a really cool process to help people understand and dissect this, is one of the number one ways she has become magnetic, and all these opportunities have come to her. That's one of the things. The other part of Cassidy's process is the detachment process, which you had to learn, and you're like, we're both of us are still evolving in that.
Yeah.
But it's wild, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, the value system is something that people, I think, don't go in on enough. That's
at all.
And you cannot compromise on that vision, and that's a painful process. You have to be so dedicated to the vision and how you want to feel, and when it's not aligned, the ability to say no is the hardest part, because there's a lot of temptation out there.
Yes.
But it is when you are acting in alignment with being like, no, I'm going to take that delayed gratification, which is not easy as an ADHD person.
Yeah.
But when you get your value system aligned, which is like one of the key foundations, you can only magnetize things when you know how you want it to feel.
Oh my God. Okay. So what you said there was amazing, because your value system, and this is where people like, oh yeah, I have values, but they're not really clear on what they are. Truly, they're not. It is the thing that does not allow you to compromise. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened for you. And your reality met you at the standards that you were not willing to compromise on.
Exactly.
And that's how it manifested itself. But it was that you can't get so stuck in the evidence, is what I always talk about, of, oh my God, this isn't but you will not waver in your standards, even though the evidence is screaming at you, come on, just take this opportunity. It'll be good. It'll help lead to something else. And whatever your mind was the story, you were able to overcome those stories because you had the value system there backing you.
Yeah.
And therefore you attracted all these crazy opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't get me wrong, there were so many missteps along the way. Like,
yeah,
it sounds very overly simplified, but there has to be, at the end of the day, the core is that trusting of your own intuition is another pillar, because there has to be an inner knowing of what you think that you are capable of, that belief in yourself, and a knowing in order to walk forward in faith and turn those opportunities down, that something bigger is coming. And there's going to be missteps along the way, and I have hundreds of stories in that department.
Yeah.
But in order to call in those opportunities, you have to be so grounded in that value system and belief.
Okay, so this is probably a struggle for everyone. How did you, when there wasn't the evidence there, how did you manage to stay strong in your own self-belief? Because that would have wavered significantly.
Oh, Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there were so many times of doubting myself, especially when you are working with people who want you to conform.
Yeah.
And in so many ways I did bend and sacrifice myself, and that sort of like, you know, that's a whole other rabbit hole. But so the basis was I did a lot of mindset training. I really went all in. There's Eric Thomas, changed my life. Incredible motivational speaker. I used to listen to his motivational mixtapes on repeat for...
Did you say tapes? Mixtapes?
They're called mixtapes.
Did you have one of those where Walkman? Did you have a Walkman?
I used to go walking and running, listening, and even driving.
Yeah.
I changed my value system based on what worked from his tapes. Really changed my life because it really taught me about not wavering on the vision. And he was talking about, I can't remember, one incredible basketball player who was like Michael Jordan or someone like that, that was like, they never wavered on the vision. They didn't sign to teams that didn't align with them, et cetera, et cetera. That value system was always then when I was in the really hard times being like, I have to believe that it's going to, if it's meant to be, it'll show up the way that it's meant to, and it will be effortless. And I feel like that's magnetism in life. If you refuse to compromise on the vision, the next thing when you've said no to the universe, no, that's not what it looks like. That is not what it looks like. That's not the team I wanted to sign to. It's not the vision. Then it goes, okay, you're committed. And it sends you the right thing your way.
Wow.
So that was kind of like that evidence was proven to me time and time again. There were obviously so many times that the belief in myself wasn't there. I got dropped by my label, like very suddenly, very harshly, you know, and that absolutely destroyed me. But it was after that I magnetized the Opera House. Yeah. And, you know, it was like I had my moment of redemption because I did not waver in my self-belief, that I knew that there were bigger things still destined for me despite the evidence of being dropped by them, that then, you know, they're coming back to you later, sending you DMs being like, I'm so proud of you when you perform at the Opera House. And you're like, oh, now you're proud of me. Now I'm of value. So, yeah, there's always redemption. You find ways, but the value system will keep it afloat.
Wow. This is so good, Cassie. This is so good. And because we were talking about this yesterday as well, your journey has been extreme highs, extreme lows, extreme highs, extreme lows. And because of your journey, you have been really like your process in terms of magnetism, that part of it has calibrated you to be so clear on what it is people can do to, number one, not experience the extremes that you have, but number two, figure out exactly the embodiments and the mindset and the value systems that people need to embody in order to have these things come to them, and like wild things.
Yeah, absolutely wild. A lot of it's to do with nervous system regulation as well. Now that I'm understanding it, now that I've kept being grounded in that life evidence, now I know how to like care for myself better in the highs and lows, because I think if you're an entrepreneur, you are signing up for an extreme life. If you're doing different things, you're not following the safe, strategic status quo. You have to absolutely just surrender to the fact that your life is going to be constant chaos. And if you don't enjoy that journey, if you can't find a way to love that journey, I don't enjoy that journey at all. You know what I mean, babe? You know, there are some seriously hard moments, but I have surrendered to the fact now, and the inner knowing and the full understanding that like, oh, I'm having an extreme high. Yeah. Okay, cool. It's going to crash down after this. Yeah. And same with the lows. When I'm having really big lows, I'm like, it could be later today that I have an extreme high. Yeah. That's how quick the bounce back is. But I've said it to Sarah before, and I'll say it to all of you, that the best lesson I've ever been taught in life is those extreme highs and extreme lows mimic our heartbeat. And if everything were to be one steady level, you've flatlined and you are not living. Yes. So learn to love it.
Yes. Oh my God. And then, but now you've also learned to regulate it, which is probably the difference, because back then you didn't necessarily have the tools that now you've really cultivated, which is why this Fempreneur thing it's that another hit of inspiration that's come to you again, which is really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why it is the Fearless Fempreneur, because I feel like, have I been afraid? Constantly. Yeah. I'm a high anxiety person. You know what I mean? Like, but my father's a stuntman, and the one thing he taught me to do was to do it afraid, do it anyway, and I was getting on national television in a foreign country, not speaking a single word of their language barely, and being like, oh damn, I'm on live TV right now and you're talking to me in Malay and I don't understand a single word, you know? Yeah, but just being like, oh, well, that was a bad day at the office. We're going to have another one now, you know.
How did you get through moments like that? Do you just smile and nod, or what? How does that even go?
Yeah, there's some interviews I'm not so proud of. I'd laugh a lot too, apparently, according to a lot of early day recording, like radio presenters.
Yeah.
I even did a radio presenting job. I was a radio host for 3 months. And I didn't actually speak the language, and I was lucky to have a co-host who sort of fostered me through it. But it was just surrendering to being like, well, I know I'm meant to be here, and I'm going to go all in on the fact that, like my record label, someone said to me, people love that you don't know what you're doing. Okay. You have to allow yourself to be a beginner, Cass, because like that's what they like, is that you're getting it wrong. And if you can laugh at yourself in the process, people can relate. So you're just being human.
That is so interesting. And then from there, you really cultivated yourself, because now you speak the language. Now you sing in 8 different languages.
Yeah, it's like 8 or 9.
Oh my God.
I added a new one last week. It's more terrifying every time.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I mimic those languages, but I speak English and Malay.
Yeah. Okay. But this is just your own way of how, like, you've cultivated yourself along the way, because you've gotten used to calibrating to fear. And the only way you would have pushed yourself is just fearlessly doing it, being afraid anyway. And that's a beautiful lesson your dad taught you.
Yes, absolutely. And I think also the reward outweighs the discomfort.
Yes.
Because for me, I realized, I was like, what keeps me coming back? Because this is absolute hell for me. Why do I do this to myself? It's not like it's easy for me.
Yeah.
But the connection when you sing in another language of a foreign land, whether you're doing it great or not, you know, the instant bond that it creates, the way that people feel seen and celebrated, for me, that's like, oh my God, the human connection is worth it every time. So I continue to be like, well, I could do another one.
Wow.
I could try another one.
Oh my
there
gosh.
You go.
Yay. I think obviously that really sets people apart. The ones who are willing to do it afraid. It really, and again, so this is why the Fearless Fempreneur has a really powerful place in people who want to get themselves out there, because Cassie teaches all of these systems that really have gotten her and magnetized the opportunities to her, but she also will help you to regulate to them. And that's the tools. Those are the tools you wish you had. Like the version of Cassie that went through all those crazy things. The whole Fearless Fempreneur are the tools you wish you had, the things you wish you knew. And this is now the new gift that you get to give to the world.
I'm so excited for it too. I mean, it's only been a year since I changed my own life and actually really cultivated this system and had to learn surrender and actually had to go back and be like, okay, what has worked, what hasn't worked? Because that being said, a year ago, I was so anxious and so just like nervous system dysregulated that I absolutely, like my hands were shaking around the clock. Like I was in a really bad relationship situation. And it wasn't until I said to the universe, I literally had to like cut my own limb off, basically ending a relationship and just looking at my whole life and going, this is not it. Yeah. This ain't it. Universe, no. Let's start a whole new life from now on. And then the opportunities I've even magnetized in the last year are insane. Okay. So I'm so excited to pass the lessons on.
Yay! Yeah. Okay. So if people want to get in touch with you, if they want to learn more about how to become part of your movement, how can they do that?
You can find me on Instagram under both Cassidy Le Crème, and I now am launching my business account, the Fearless Fempreneur. We have our first mini course coming out, which will teach you the pillars of the feminine magnetism method. So then you can kind of understand what is involved, what do you have to start working on, what is the basis, I guess, the foundation that we need to build. And there are different things that you'll see in there, like tapping and feminine embodiment practice and all these things that then therefore start leading you down that pathway of learning to trust yourself and magnetize opportunities to yourself and identify what's truly important to you. So come find me.
Yay. I'll make sure I link it all below. I'm so excited. So you guys, just to really anchor in, like, what Cassidy teaches is so powerful. It's not just like, oh, how to scale your business, how to get more clients. How do you collapse time and have insane overnight life-changing opportunities land in your lap? So Cass, can we leave them with your Opera House story? Because I love that story. It's one of my favorites.
I would love that. It's one of my favorites too. Yeah. So basically, my mother and I were in KL Kuala Lumpur. We're in a taxi driving past the Opera House, and she always laughs at this story because she said, we were driving past the Opera House and you pointed at it and said, I'm going to perform there one day. And, you know, she's in a foreign country with her daughter who's just moved over there. I mean, I've done some cool stuff before, but that seemed like a bit of a reach.
How old were you?
I was 28.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I was just said it with such conviction. And I had no evidence as to why I should say that, but I just got a feeling and was like, it's done. I'm going to be performing there someday. And she said at the time, she was like, you know, no offense, but I was like, yeah, sure. And then so basically fast forward, it's about 2 years later, and she said, lo and behold, 2 years later, I'm in a taxi on the way to the Opera House to watch you perform. And I was like, she's done it again. And to be honest, I did absolutely nothing from the day of saying that and actually it manifesting. I didn't do anything. It showed up in my inbox on Facebook. I got the invitation from someone that I knew. I did not approach an agency. I did not have a promoter. I did not have a booker go and get this gig for me. I got a message saying, hey, Cassidy, we've got this gig with the 2 biggest male celebrities in Malaysia. They want you as their guest at their concert for 4 nights. Can you do it?
Guys, can we just sit in this for a second? This is the power of feminine magnetism. We don't chase, we attract. How many people say that, but also how many people actually embody it and have the proof that as a female entrepreneur, this is the way. Full stop. This has been the theme, the running theme throughout your whole career, which is why your process is insanely powerful. You guys need to get on board with what Cassie is teaching here because it is truly life-changing. You probably didn't even have second thoughts about it. You proclaimed it. Yep. And it came to you with total detachment.
Total detachment. Absolute detachment. I never even thought about it again.
There you go.
Never even thought about it again, but I knew it was going to happen for me, and it was nothing about putting in place a strategy and following steps to get there. I just literally had a value system that I operated from, that every single gig I did, I was constantly up leveling. I was always doing the best to like go above and beyond, create new costuming, develop my brand. I just was always showing up in a way that was of that level of performance. And even when I got there, I changed the level of performance that needed to be brought, costuming, etc. It was...
You actually, when you were there, you upped the standards of what even the people that were used to performing there had to rise up to.
Maybe. I hold a very high standard for myself in my brand when it comes to visuals and everything. And I performed with this incredible, very famous celebrity, but I had no idea that he had never worn a suit or tuxedo in his entire 45, 50-year career ever. He was a very casually dressed man and came to the media release night, and I was wearing a full glitter gown from head to toe. Yeah, I showed up. They basically called me the Statue of Liberty. You can see it on my Instagram, but I showed up in a gown that was full glitter, like full train, everything. And he came in jeans and a t-shirt, and the next night we walked on stage and he walked out in a tuxedo, and the whole Opera House gasped every night because they'd never seen him in a tuxedo. But I wasn't going to dress down.
Hell no, girl.
Nope.
See, this is what it means to have a very clear fucking value system. It raises the bar on every area, and it causes other people around you to either come to the party or not. And this is where the universe bends to you, not you. Cassie's whole theme is the universe will bend to her. She doesn't bend for the universe. As no matter how loudly the evidence is screaming at her, just bend. She doesn't. And everything comes to her. And this is so powerful. And she breaks down how you can do this, because it's not easy. It's not easy to do. It's a muscle you build. And she teaches you how to build this muscle in a really, really powerful way.
Yeah, I'm super excited to share it with you guys. So please get in touch if you want to learn it. You know, it's uncomfortable work, but damn, it's worth it. And you will realize that every time you have bent, the sacrifice does manifest in other ways, and the satisfaction isn't there.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Cassidy. We could talk for hours about this, but thank you so much for being on here. I'm going to link all of her details below, you guys. So definitely just scroll through her Insta and you'll see all of it. So follow her, reach out to her. She's so lovely. She'll message you back on DMs, all of it. And you want to get onto the Fearless Fempreneur, because this will change the game for people. It will literally, it'll be like, you know, the striving, the hustle, the pick me energy. It's gone. It's gone. Yes.
Be gone. No more pick me. They will pick you.
Yes.
You've got to know it.
Yes. Yes. Yay. Oh, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I will see you next week. Thank you for being here, Cass.
Thank you, Sarah. We love you. You're incredible. You're changing lives, girl.
Oh, so are you. See you guys. Thank you so much for listening today, beautiful soul. I hope you got so much gold and were activated in such a way that you could step into your highest timeline of abundance and freedom, because it is more than possible for you. If that desire has been planted in your soul, it is so deliberate. If you wouldn't mind, please rate, review, subscribe to this podcast so that we can get this message into the hearts and ears of more amazing light beings across the world. I would love to continue this conversation with you, so feel free to get in touch on Instagram at sarah.tynan.quantumcoach. If you're a Facebook person, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Sarah Tynan International. And please don't ever forget, if your desire is there, it's because your destiny is there too. You just have to remember who you are. Bye for now, beautiful.